Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Nest. I'm your host, Zach Peters, and welcome to episode 4, where we talk everything Westfield State athletics. I'm your host, Zach Peters, and if you guys aren't tuned to the podcast, last episode, I had Dino Stellato on. He was our first guest of the podcast, so that was just awesome to have him on and have our first guest onto the show. We plan to have athletes too on the show in future episodes. But if you are new here, this is basically a breakdown here of what the show consists of. Again, I talk about everything Westfield State athletics. I'll do team recaps, game breakdowns, where I go into actual highlights of the games and break everything down, what happened, certain things, how certain things unfolded. I tend to get an earlier perspective on the games because either I call the game, doing the broadcast as a play-by-play or color commentary, or I'll do camera as well. So, and then I also do things on the side for athletics, whether it's make hype videos, highlights, all the whole shebang there. And then we got player spotlight and a next game preview. Stay tuned to the player spotlight. It was very hard to choose, just one player. And sometimes I might not. I might choose one player. I might choose 3. I might choose 2. I might choose however many. But yeah, we'll get right into it. The spring break just ended. So a lot of, games have happened since the last episode. I would also like to note that it is open house here at Westfield State University. It's very busy. Campus is very busy. Dining hall is going to be packed today. So shout out to all the workers, everyone here at Westfield State, putting in the time, putting in the hours. We all greatly appreciate it, especially us students and even athletes too. You make, everything easier off the field. Coming down to the dining hall, getting some good food, so on and so forth, keeping the campus clean. But yeah, hectic day here at Westfield State, but it's a good hectic, it's a good busy. So yeah, we'll jump right into it. First, I'll go into more baseball, into what they're looking at this season. They got off to sort of a rockier start this season. They're looking to bounce back. When it comes to conference play, they've only had one game so far in conference play, and that was against Fitchburg State. Sorry about that. Pardon me. I'm still getting used to all the technical side to everything. Most people don't know that, I am the host of this show, but I'm also the producer as well. So I'm juggling a few things. So just bear with me. But yeah, here we got, just the homepage here. You can see their batting average leaders. Nick Lenfest, he's had a great start to the season. Watching him play against Fitchburg State, he had a great game. Very composed player, and he gets those timely hits that you need. He's not going to be the most powerful guy in the box, but he's going to get hits, and he's reliable, and that's exactly what you need. As you can see, his batting average is leading the team with a 361, and then Sam Palmer right behind him at 360. So yeah, Palmer's been just a staple for this Owls team. He's been very good at the dish. He has the power bat. Him and Racine, they have definitely the top power bats. As you can see, they're 2 out of 3 in batting average. But yeah, we'll just go into some of the recent games. And they do play Worcester later today. That is away. in Worcester. But they also, that game against Fitchburg State, which was on, I believe it was, on Wednesday. It was technically the Owls' home opener, since it was here at Westfield State on Hagen Field. But it was an away game for them because it was supposed to be a home game for Fitchburg, supposed to be at their field. Their field wasn't in good condition. That's going to happen in the beginning of the spring with all the rain, all the snow. Fields are going to be a little mushy. They hold a lot of water. So it was an interesting home opener, I guess, if you want to call it that. Because, it's still technically at your home field, but you're the away team. And I'll get into that game later. We got a full breakdown of that game. That was a very entertaining game. We didn't have anyone calling that game, just the camera. Because it was weird because, obviously the schedule planned for the Owls to be at Fitchburg, and the lacrosse team had a game at 6 and baseball had a game at 3. So those kind of overlapped. Or no, excuse me, it was 5. The lacrosse team had a game at 5. So those overlapped a little bit. So most of our staff was just on the lacrosse game. But yeah, we'll go into so far their games this season. All of these games besides the Fitchburg game have been non-conference. You can see they lost their first 2 games against Keystone and then McDaniel, and then they won. They had a triple header. They faced McDaniel 3 times. Came 1-2 against them. So, first 4 games they're 1-3. Tough start, but at the same time, you got to realize like those are non-conference games. You're not necessarily supposed to win those games, but you're also, you want to get that experience against a better team, because then you go into conference play and you're already used to these tougher opponents, and I guess players that are, better overall. So then when you go into conference play, you're already ready to go, and you're used to playing the top guys and the top dogs. So, and then they took a win against Coast Guard 3-2. That one was at Springfield College, and then they lost. So split that series, and then lost both games to New Platts. And then number 29 ranked Montclair State. They took a win the first game, which is very impressive. And then they lost pretty badly the next 2 games, each by over a 10-run deficit. So, the Owls off to sort of a rocky start. Obviously, they're non-conference games, so you can't be too harsh on yourself. Obviously, you look at the record and you see 3-11, and you're like, oh, that's not a great start. But at the same time, those are non-conference games, so you can't be too hard. And conference games are the ones that really matter and really count. But they're on a. Yeah, technically they're 0-0 at home because that game that they faced against Fitchburg, that was here, but that was technically a away game. So not really have had a home game yet. So we can't tell, if they're better on the road or they're better at home. But they're 1-6, and when they're not playing home or away, I guess, or that the other team's home field or your home field. Those are the games that took place in New Jersey. But yeah, they're 2-5 on the road, and then 0-0 at home in 3-game losing streak. And they're 0-1 the conference after taking a heartbreaking loss to Fitchburg. First conference game, you kind of had an upper hand because technically it was your home field, but you're still playing from the away side. So, baseball is one of those things where you need to get in a rhythm. I played baseball like my whole life, and people are definitely superstitious. But yeah, we'll go into that game later once we talk about lacrosse and softball, because I want to break down also the lacrosse game. But But yeah, these are the games that really count. Is these next? Let's see. Yeah, these next 5 games. These next 5 games, get 3 against Worcester, and the game that is on Sunday was originally on Saturday at Hagen Field, but got moved to Sunday because of weather. It's supposed to be freezing on Saturday, so if you guys are attending the lacrosse game where they'll be playing Framingham State, make sure you bundle up because that game starts, I believe, at 6, so it's going to be even colder, especially if you're higher up on the bleachers. That wind is pretty brutal, especially here in Westfield. Yeah, it's windy here, especially during the spring months. So yeah, make sure you bundle up if you are gonna go see those games. Even Sunday, I think it's gonna be a little bit nicer, but still, I mean, you never know with New England weather. But yeah, you can see. I don't know who they'll be throwing today. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see here. Yeah, that game's just under 3 hours away. Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure who will be pitching. Novak pitched last game. You know, he had a rough start, and then McNamara came in, and he actually settled things down, and he pitched very well. He's definitely our ace, that's for sure. Yeah, but we'll see. These games, you know, are very important. Like, yeah, I was going to win all of these games here, and then boom, they're like the top of the MASCAC standings. And speaking of the MASCAC standings, we'll go here over to the standings so far. Mass Maritime's 1-0. Anna Maria's 1-0. They're joining the conference. A lot of day games this year. And then we got Bridgewater 0-1, MCLA 0-1. And then Salem State 0-0, Framingham State 0-0, Westfield 0-1, and then Worcester 0-0. And the reason why you might be, why aren't we up here with Bridgewater and MCLA if we're both 0-1 in the conference? And that's because just the record, the overall record, and our winning percentage is lower. So obviously we're a lot lower on the list in the standings. So yeah, these games are pretty big, pretty pivotal. You gotta take advantage of the MASCAC games, that's for sure. I mean, they saw a lot of promise in the Fitchburg game, so they can easily come away with it. I mean, the conference is really just open to anyone, as you saw. I mean, we'll go back to the standings here. I mean, Mass Maritime, I mean, they've been pretty good. I mean, anyone really can win it. It's there's no one that stands out more than anyone else. So, I mean, I know, you know, Salem State a few years back were really good. We were knocked off by Framingham last year. You know, anyone really can get it. And then there's Anna Maria. They're the kind of the outlier. We don't really know since they are joining the conference. But they could be the one. I mean, they're already a 1-0 start, you know. So, never know. These games are really important. But the thing is, it's a good home stretch too. That's 4 games, you know, after today's game. That's 4 games in a row that are home. So, you know, that's very exciting. I know I'm working the game on Sunday. I'm doing the color commentary as of right now with Dino Stellato. So we did all the hockey and basketball games. So we're excited to get back after it with baseball. Spring's obviously a little bit different. You know, Dino's on the football team. If you want to know more about Dino too, just check out last episode. You can go to the channel below, click that, and then go to live, and then you can see all the episodes that I've done here for Inside the Nest. But yeah, so the game got moved to Sunday. It was originally going to be me and Zach Bianco on that game, but you know, obviously it got moved. So schedules change and we got other priorities on certain days. I'm fortunate enough to be able to still do that game, which I'm super pumped about. Me and Dino, we're big baseball guys, so we're super happy to do that. I was really pumped to do it with Zach as well. He's a great broadcaster, and he's very talented. We did a lacrosse game last year that was super fun, but we will still be on that lacrosse game on Saturday. The last time me and Zach did a lacrosse game was the semifinal of the MASCAC semifinal for women's lacrosse, and that game was very entertaining to say the least. But so that's a really perfect transition to go right into lacrosse now. I think we covered the basis here of baseball. They just got games they got to really win here, especially these MASCAC games. They're already down 0-1 in the conference, and now their backs are against the wall, and they really gotta win. They just gotta win, and they gotta win early here because you don't want to be crawling back later in the season. But yeah, so yeah, we'll just switch gears now over to lacrosse. Look at how they did over before spring break. Yeah, what they're looking at for future games, as well as their next game against Framingham State, which is, I think we're gonna get a good crowd for that game. Framingham obviously isn't too far. I want to say it's about an hour 15 from Westfield. So I guarantee you, parents will travel. Fans will travel to watch that game and later game, and I think it's gonna be a good one. Obviously, it's a MASCAC game, so really anything can happen. Nothing is ever guaranteed, as we've seen in future or past games. So yeah, leading goal scorer or leading point scorer is Christiana Roncarati, the D1 transfer. She went to Pope Francis, and she went to high school in St. Francis, I believe. Those might be switched, flipped around, but yeah, you can definitely tell she's played at the D1 level. Just the way she moves, how she carries the ball when she passes, when she just decides to drive to the crease and make a move towards the net, and her agility as well. You can just tell she has that experience at the D1 level. And she's just a playmaker. She's a true attacker. Last year we saw Emma Pratson as the main attacker, and she was mainly a feeder. She was, racking up points mainly by assist instead of goals. She was still scoring goals, but she was mainly, getting those off assist, feeding Kylie Buchanan, Natalie DeMeo, even Rozzy as well. But Christina Roncarati, she doesn't care. She'll run through people, try to score, and she's a true attacker. And she rushes through people really, and finds her way in the back of the net. And her and Rozzy have been the top two. Her, Rozzy, and Morales really have been the top 3 point scorers. So those 3 have been really dominant. Rozzy, as of lately, has been on a tear. I believe she had 4 goals and 1 assist against Plymouth State, and then Roncarati had 8 goals that game, which is just absurd. We'll look at some of her stats here. Yeah, she's played in every game. 29 points. Pretty much most of them are goals. 26 of those are goals, and 3 of those are assists. She's nearing 100 points, 100 career points, but also 100 goals. That shows you how, her playing style and how she's a true attacker and will just go out there and score goals. Yeah, she's just been off the chart. We can even look at her game logs. 4 points against MIT. Here, let's make this a little bit bigger for everyone to see. We got 4 points against MIT, so great start there. all goals, 5 points against Johnson and Wales, 4 goals, 1 assist, 3 points against WestCon, all of those were goals, 2 against Smith, both of those were goals, and then 8 points against Plymouth State, which if you take away those 8 points, it's a tie game, 10-10, which is just remarkable. But then Rozzy also had four as well. So them two carried that game. Put all their points together. That's 12. It's 12 points there. And then I believe Morales had a few as well. I want to say she had 2 or 3 that game. But yeah, and then 5 her last against Hamilton, and then 2 against Colby, which were all assists, which is, unlike her. She's scoring goals. But this Framingham game, I know that lacrosse team is fired up. Both these teams, Framingham and Westfield, don't like each other at all, not in the slightest. So we might see a lot of fouls. We might see some green cards, definitely, but we might see some yellows as well. I think it's going to be physical, and I think, who's going to come up top on top of that game is going to be the team that can, be the most calm, cool, and collected, and not let those small things get to you. These Owls are a very young team, but Coach Petroulis is trying to, get everything together, but also their captains as well, Dykeman, O'Brien, and Rozzy, just trying to settle everyone down and work together as a team. And they're off to a pretty good start. I mean, we'll look at some of their most recent games. That Framingham's game is gonna be a good one, to say the least. But yeah, first win was against Johnson and Wales, 15-10, and they lost a pretty rough one to WestCon. That was a game that we thought was would be a little bit closer than 20-7, but that one was kind of a brutal game, and then just a heartbreaking loss to Smith going into spring break. But that was a very close game as well. Izzy Conley's been phenomenal this year. She's been very good. She just was awarded MASCAC Goalie of the Week. She's been great. She had a great game against Plymouth, and then even a better game. You might be like, why a better game if they lost that game? Because Hamilton's in I believe it's the NESCAC, and those teams are very good, and they only lost by 4 points, and they played very good in Florida. Who knows? Maybe those players might like the warmer weather and play better in the warmer weather. I certainly was like that. I definitely I don't know. I just feel like I played better. My body was just warmer. That was just to only lose by 6 points to Hamilton was it's just a very good stat line, and it's very promising. I mean, we'll go into the box score here of this Plymouth State game. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Morales, she had 3 goals, 3 shots, so very efficient. And then Rozzy had 4 goals, 1 assist, and I made 4 shots on goal, so also very efficient. That's another thing. Beginning of the season, they played MIT, and they had I don't even know how many total shots, but they were very efficient with their shots. Each shot they took ended in a goal. Except that MIT team was very good. And then Roncarati with just 8 goals. I think 9 total shots, 8 on goal. So again, this team's just very efficient with their shots. And just look out for those 3: Roncarati, Rozzy, and Morales. Those are their top scorers. And then their most recent game against Colby, they're the 11th ranked team in Division 3. So, knew that one was going to be tough, but only scoring 4 points is kind of a tough pill to swallow. And the defense definitely needs work. I'll go into a breakdown a little bit later of that game. Get really into depth. Mainly on the Owls goals and what's to be worked on, and overall though they're pumped up for this game. I know obviously Framingham is too, but the last time around Framingham won, so they're like, oh, we have that for us. So they've got their head a little bit higher, but also the Owls have a little bit more fire going for them, because they want to win that game. I know they do more than anything. And then they get a non-conference game against Eastern Connecticut State, and then they play Mass Maritime, then they play Williams, another non-conference game, then Bridgewater State, and then Amherst. That is a tough one because that team is phenomenal. They've always been very good. They're just fast, tall. They do everything really well. They don't hold the ball more than, I want to say, 2 seconds, and then they get rid of it. And then Anna Maria, Salem, Worcester, and then all of the non-conference or all of the conference games trickle in. But main focus is going to be against Framingham. Here, we'll go into the MASCAC standings here for lacrosse. I don't know if, let's see. Yeah, no one has even played a non-conference game, so it's wide open, and it's first non-conference game of the season. So you want to win that, and you want to, have your head up high and have all the confidence in the world going into the rest of the season. Especially the team that beat you last year in the MASCAC semifinals. That was a heartbreaker for them. A lot of their top players for the Owls are now graduated, and the only one that's really still on the team are the captains. Really, Rozzy, Crahan, Dykeman. Crahan's not a captain, but Dykeman, O'Brien. Dykeman and O'Brien are captains as well with Rozzy. Those are the real, and then Conley as well. This is really her first year. Those are all the seniors, but that's really Conley's first year really actually playing, getting minutes. If I was you and I'm listening to this and you can make it to that game, go to that game, because that is going to be an entertaining game. Make sure you dress warm though. Make sure you bundle up, have the hand warmers, have the mittens, have the winter hats, because I think the high was around 30 degrees, maybe a little bit more than that. But and I think it's going to be pretty packed here at Alumni Field, with Framingham being so close, but also because it's a big rivalry game, big rivalry game for sure, and both teams want this game bad. That's pretty much it for lacrosse when it comes to the game recaps, the team recap side of it. Now we'll go into softball, and I don't have a game breakdown for them because they haven't played a home game yet, and I only have access to home games to clip stuff and to break things down. We'll see what happens. Going in transitioning into softball, they've had the exact start they've wanted. They're a perfect 14-0, and they're just firing on all cylinders right now. Again, same thing. They've only played non-conference games. You go back to baseball and you're like, oh, okay, they're 3-11, but they're non-conference games, so it doesn't really matter. Except one game. Whereas softball, it's like, oh, they're 14-0, but they're non-conference games, so do they really matter? Yes and no. Obviously, from an overall record, they do, but no, because it doesn't matter to the conference, and it doesn't matter if you have a really bad non-conference record, and you could be perfect in the MASCAC. But there is the mental side of it, and there's the confidence side of it. And when you're losing games, it's draining, and you obviously aren't connecting, fully as a team. That chemistry is lacking. Whereas, softball, they're 14-0. Obviously, they're doing something right, and they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Whereas, baseball, where they're struggling a little bit more, they feel like they've got to switch things around and change things around. And that can be a headache as well. There's just more pieces, puzzle pieces you got to put together when you're on the losing end of things. So, yeah, we'll go right now into softball, and then after that, we will do a game, my game breakdowns, as I love doing. I think it's just awesome going into depth about the games and whatnot. I did it for hockey and I believe basketball just a few episodes ago. I believe I did that on episode 2 because episode 3 was with Dino. But yeah, if you want to see more of like winter sports, check out episodes 2 and 3, 4, and going on so forth to like 5 and 6 and 7. Will be obviously spring sports, and I hope to get to do all those shows as well. I'm probably gonna be able to get to about episode 6 or 7 until I graduate. So I'm trying to make most of the time and make as many shows as I can, and I hope you guys are enjoying it because I definitely am, and I just want to keep doing it. So yeah, enough of that. We'll get now right into softball. Here, their homepage, and obviously we got changes to this game as well. This game was originally their next game against Worcester was originally going to be tomorrow. That was going to be a doubleheader, one at 12 and the other at 2, but that is moved now to Sunday, and those times remain the same, just the next day. So batting average leaders, Hannah Wodecki, she's having a phenomenal year. She just hit, I believe, 106 career RBIs, and that set a program record. So shout out to her. That is a phenomenal milestone to reach. But she's batting 500. I mean, 5 out of 10 times she gets up to bat, she gets a hit, and that's just impressive to say the least. And then right behind her is Mia Alfonso. She's their main catcher. I know she can be an extra hitter as well if they want to give her a rest day from behind the plate, because as a catcher, it's a lot of wear and tear on the knees, a lot of wear and tear on the body. So yeah, Alfonso, I mean, Slack to Osman and Sarah Huff, excuse me. So yeah, they're just, I mean, you look at their top 5 and the lowest batting average is 409. I mean, they just know how to hit the ball, and they're just out there to put the ball in play, really. And Coach Huff does a good job at keeping it simple. And obviously they have the bats to hit it out of the ballpark, excuse me. But they also got those contact players as well. Go to their recent games. I mean, like I said, their next game is on Sunday at 12 p.m. at Sullivan Field here at Westfield State, right outside the Woodward Center. But yeah, I mean, they haven't lost the game. They've just been phenomenal. All these games in Florida, I want to say they played 13 games. So their season started in Florida. And again, it could be the weather. It could be they're just ready to go. So, yeah, they took a win against RIT, then they just kept on winning. I mean, that was a close game, but they still got the win. Another close game, still got the win. They just kept on winning 15-0. That's a big win. 11-7. That's a little bit closer than a 14-0 win. And that ended in the mercy rule, 5 innings. Once you're up by a certain amount of runs, they will call the game. And then they just kept winning. I mean that one was a close matchup. But yeah, this team is just raking. They're absolutely crushing the ball. And then they had a doubleheader against Skidmore. I was on the road, and they won both games. But yeah, we'll go into these two games a little bit more in depth because they are their most recent matchups. We could go into every one, but that would take forever. But yeah, I mean they're just firing on all cylinders, really, to say the least. But yeah, this game was a little bit closer. It's so interesting because you see a doubleheader, and you think the first game, it's like, okay, close game, and you're like expecting the second game to be close, but then it's a 15-2 game, and that's what makes baseball and softball so interesting and come with so much strategy, and just because it depends who you're throwing that day, or just also like who's hot at bat, and how your bullpen arms are as well. It really comes down to pitching. Who's got the better pitching staff? Who's healthier? Who can go longer innings? So, yeah, we'll check out a box score here. Skidmore actually started the scoring. They were up 1-0 after the first, and then the Owls answered right back, and it was 2-1 game, and they just kept going back and forth, and then that's where kind of the floodgates opened for the Owls, and they put up 6 runs in the 6th, and then, Skidmore answered back, but it was a little too late, and then both teams not scoring in the 7th, and the Owls won that one to score up 10-6 with 12 hits to Skidmore's 9, 2 errors though. So, wonder if those errors were costed any runs. But Camacho, yep, she, see, she was struggling, in that game when 0 for 3 actually with 3 strikeouts, but she had 2 walks, so she got up 5 times. So everyone's really getting up 5 times in a game, which is, pretty good. You're batting around if you're getting up 4 times in a game. A normal rate is around 2, I would say 3 to 4 times a game. But if you're getting up 5 times, that means your team's hitting the ball and putting it in play and scoring runs. Let's see here. Wodecki went 2 for 4. She had a good game. She had 2 hits, 2 runs as well, 2 RBIs. Alfonso went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Alyssa Slack had a good game. She went 2 for 4 as well with 2 hits and 2 RBIs, just like Wodecki. So they had pretty much the same stats there. And then O'Donnell had 3 hits with 4 at-bats. So 3 for 4 for her. She had 1 RBI. So great game by her. And, the Owls ultimately get the win in that game. Joss Meddy pitched that game. She's off to a great start. She's 4-0. She only allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run. So, one of those errors did force in a run. So only 2 walks. So pretty good. That's as a pitcher, you just can't walk people. And good on her. Only giving up 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. She's mainly a ground ball pitcher, but getting 4 strikeouts in 4 innings is solid. You'll love that any day of the week. And then Schaefer closing it out. Sort of closing it out. She pitched 3 innings, let up 6 hits. She let up 4 runs, 4. So those were all earned. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and Schaefer's a freshman, so she'll settle in, she'll ease in. But she had to get she had to get 9 outs. So good job by her staying calm and ultimately getting the win, and helped out that their team, put up 6 runs in that 6th inning. So yeah, good job by the Owls. And then their next game, just went even better, winning 15-2. They scored 2 in the first, 1 in the third, and then they have that 1 inning where they score over 5 runs. They scored 9 in the 3rd inning, and then 3 in the 5th, and then that was enough to get the mercy rule. So, yeah, Camacho did better. She was in center field. She'll mainly be they're one of their top outfielders. She's definitely one of a quicker player. So she'll be in center. She had 2 runs as well. So good on her. And then Sarah Huff had 4 RBIs, went 2 for 4 with 2 hits. And then Wodecki just feeling so confident at the plate. 3 for 3 with 3 hits and 1 RBI. Same thing with Alfonso. They're both just raking. And 3 for 3 for Alfonso, 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Alyssa Slack doing a very good job, going 1 for 2, had 2 runs, 2 RBIs. And then, it was just a good game for the Owls. Floodgates really opened there. And then on the pitching side, Vertuli just went all 5 innings. It's really easy to do that when your team gets 15 runs, but she was also just dominant. 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. So pretty good. And then just 1 home run. But yeah, good performance by her. Won a complete game. Thanks to the mercy rule. But yeah, Owls, are just rolling right now for softball, 14-0, and they look to keep that ball going, keep it rolling into MASCAC play, going against Worcester. Ended up, I believe, but yeah, Worcester won the MASCAC championship last year. Here, I want to see if we can let's pull up. Let's see if we can pull up last season's. Yeah, let's see last season's results. Worcester was the number 1 seed. We were the 2 seed. We were both 5-1. So, yeah, the Owls want that. That's kind of just like Framingham for lacrosse, except I would say Framingham game for lacrosse is got more attention to it, I would say, and a lot more pivotal, a lot more important. So. Yeah, gonna be a good couple games this weekend, with lacrosse leading it off this Saturday at 6 p.m. against Framingham State, excuse me, and then we got softball and baseball, both here at Westfield State, at Hagen Field for baseball. Those games are 12-2. And then softball 12-2 at Sullivan Field. So it's a busy weekend here for if you're an Owls fan, if you're an Owls player, and then also with open house too, and fresh check day. So a lot of culture going on here for this weekend today on Friday, and also with the games, tomorrow and then on Sunday. So it's a lot to look forward to and a lot of important games, and they're all MASCAC games. So if you're an Owls fan, stay tuned. If you're a parent, you're an athlete, stay tuned. Look forward to those games because those are going to be a good one. But now I'll jump into my next segment. I'm trying to think if I want to do the game breakdowns first. Yeah, I'll do the game breakdowns where we go more into in depth on each game. And first I'll start with lacrosse. I won't focus too much on that game because it was a tough one. The Owls did lose 22-4 against a really good Colby College team. So yeah, let's get into those highlights. Here I'll have I've got the audio going here so everyone can listen to that. And that was Rozzy to start the scoring of the game. And Colby College is just all a little bit confused. You know, they're expecting an absolute cakewalk coming in to Westfield State to just run through these guys. But, you know, Rozzy says, no, thank you. Let me start the scoring. And, yeah, she's been on a tear lately, scoring the first goal for the Owls. And then here's their second goal as Rozzy draws the foul there. So she'll go to the 8-meter and get a free position shot. Only takes a few steps before she just slings it in there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering what the strategy behind that decision was. And, you know, Rozzy, you know, she admitted that she's not the fastest player and she's not going to beat people there. So what she will beat people there is with her stick, and she can put a lot of speed on the ball. And that's exactly what she did. Went 5-hole, scored the second goal for the Owls, second one of the game. So lone goal scorer so far for the Owls. And she's nearing 100 career points as well. I believe she's 15 away, around 85. And here's another one here. Great pass there by Andreessen. She's one of their better feeders. She has some great passes. But I think that's going to be the exact game plan. Is this play here is going to probably be something what they try to replicate against Framingham State. Rozzy's definitely a grittier, tougher, stronger player as well as Roncarati. So I think, you know, the Owls, you know, top passers like Heslin and Andreessen, they'll just be feeding Rozzy and Roncarati. As you see here, just great pass, going kind of like a sidearm pass there. Finds Rozzy, doesn't take any time at all, and just slings it across for the third goal for the Owls and third goal of the game for her. But I think that's going to be the game plan. They're just going to feed Roncarati and Rozzy. They're the two players that are definitely on the stronger side, but also they have the most experience. And if a shot's not there, they're not going to take it. They're going to reset, settle back, or dish it off. And then you got to have Morales as the wild card, who can also score with her quickness. So those three, those are a three dangerous pair. So Framingham's got to watch out for that. And then here we got good pass there by Roncarati for Morales to score. And that was all the scoring in that game. Obviously against a tougher opponent, but yeah. So we'll slow this one down here. So Roncarati gets it. Scanning. Just bouncing. Good pass there. Boom. Morales just fires it away quickly, scores the goal. And, I believe, that same game plan, I think that's what they're going to stick to is Roncarati and Rozzy. One, they've got the experience, and two, they've got the strength. So why not use it? And then they've got Izzy Conley in goal, who's been phenomenal lately. So, yeah, shout out to her. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Owls soar away with a victory. Being their first MASCAC home game, first MASCAC game in general. kick the season off right in that regard. So yeah, that's going to be a great game. I know I sound like a broken record. I've said that, I want to say, like 20 times already in this episode. But yeah, that was for the women's lacrosse game against Colby. Now we'll get into baseball. And this one I'm excited about because it's this game was very entertaining, to say the least. The Owls just barely losing 8-7. So yeah, let's get into that. Got the recap here. So yeah, this game was here at Hagen Field, but it was considered a away game because it was supposed to be at Fitchburg, but wasn't because of the weather. So two RBI triple there for Framingham. I'm going to lower the volume. So, yeah, and they just keep rolling right now. Novak is just struggling. You know, Fitchburg's already got 3 runs before the Owls even have an out. And there's another hit and another run. Oh, excuse me. No, this one is thrown out. Good throw there to get the runner out. I want to see. I believe that was Martin in center, or that could have been Ryan in left. Let's see. We'll watch this back. So hit the cut. Okay, that was when they scored the 2 runs. And then here is, runner at second. No outs still. And Fitchburg's already got 3 runs to show for it. So start of the game couldn't have gone better for them. Base hit up the middle. Yeah, there's Martin. Fires it in from center. 1 hop. Hanging out to dry there. Runner advances to second. Got a ground ball here. Poor throw. Too high and wide for Racine. And just sloppy baseball for the Owls. And then another hit here. And another run for the Falcons. And they're up 5-0 in the bottom of the first. And now, the Owls' turn. Nice base hit there. The Owls get on the scoreboard. So now it's a 5-1 game. And base hit into left. Station to station they go. That was Lenfest. He had a good game as well. Yeah, he's taken over that shortstop position, and he's doing it at a high level, and he's performing well. So now Martin's up. Just an muffed play there. I don't know if there was some miscommunication by the second baseman and shortstop, but you can see here kind of like right in the middle. So it's like, whose ball is that? As the shortstop, you're the captain of the infield, generally the captain of all of the field. Center field, obviously captain of the outfield, but you got to call that ball off. You got to get there. I think looked like he tried to backhand it there, but just missed it off his glove and just misread that. And then second baseman, it's hard to recover from that after it was deflected. And then Lenfest will head to third. And the Owls are doing a good job retaliating, and they've already got 5 runs in the second inning. Good job by them to answer back. And we got another hit here. That finds a hole, just gets under the glove of third baseman. Now we've got a 5-4 game. So just like when the Owls, you see they're down 5-0, you're like, oh boy, here we go. But they did a good job. Keep their composure. They know that's a long game and anything can happen. You're never out of it in baseball and softball. You really aren't. And then they just put up 4 runs of their own. So we got a 5-4 game. So good job by the Owls to retaliate. Here we go. Deep ball here. And this is just great play by the left fielder to track that down and make a good catch. That would have saved, I believe, 2 runs. I'm there, and now Fitchburg just keeping their foot on the gas pedal, scoring another run. They're just keeping it going really here. So 6-4 in favor of the Falcons. Base hit into right. Now it's 7-4. They just keep tacking it on, and Novak is struggling. So here is where I'll mute it because this is where the games overlapped, and that's where the game overlapped, and on the lacrosse games, walk-up music and intro music was playing over the audio. So I'll just mute that for copyright reasons. Just also so it's not distracting as well. But yeah, it's funny because they actually had to do the national anthem twice. I believe I want to say it was like the 6th or 7th inning, and it was a 3-1 count, and everyone just stopped. The umps were like, time. And so everyone just stopped, stood for the national anthem. So interesting. You stand for that. You did the baseball. 2 baseball teams did the national anthem twice in one game. That's a fun fact for you. And I guess story time of today's episode. So the more you know. But I'd assume it's more common than we think. It is Division III, so games do overlap. But Owls tally another run, so now it's 7-5 after the base hit. And then this one, down the line, a diving attempt by the left fielder, goes out of his reach, and that's a double. The Owls score another run, so it's 7-6 in favor of the Falcons. And they're just doing a good job at retaliating. It just the pitching's got to do its job and try to limit, hits, walks, and just got to be clean. They got to get out. They got to get through an inning without giving up a run, because it seems like in this game it's pretty much every inning they let up a run, except towards the later innings started to settle down a bit. But yeah, the pitching's got to do its job, even though the bullpen did a really good job today, and that was just a great diving catch. One of the best feelings in baseball is making a diving catch. I used to be an outfielder, mainly center fielder, and I used to not care, and I used to just lay out for everything. See here, yeah, just great job, I really hope I'm not going to zoom in. I don't want to ruin anything there, but then, yeah, great play there. Make a diving catch. Get the first out of the inning. So not giving the Owls any momentum at all. They're fired up. Of course they are. It's only a 1-run game. Every hit is coming at a premium. And just like that, Palmer ties it up. The base hit into left field. Martin scores. Palmer goes to second. Great base running there. We got a tie game, 7-7. And now Racine hits a one to center, and the center fielders are all crossed up, going every which direction, but could relay here to gun Palmer out at home. And it was a close play, but I think he, to his credit, that one's tough to judge. There's only one out. You can't go on contact. You got to make sure he doesn't catch that so you can advance. But yeah, he's gunned out at home. But yeah, two Palmers, him getting gunned out at home. You can see here he's taking his secondary. This one hit. He's got to freeze because he starts to head back because it looks like it's just a fly out to center. And you're not going to tag on that. That's too risky to tag on, especially because it is a tie game. That run is way too precious to try to, potentially run into an out. So, if you're Palmer, you'd rather be safe than sorry. But with that being said, obviously he's all wrapped around, and I would say he's right at this point. He's kind of halfway between second and third. Center fielder has it now cleanly, throws this one in, and if I'm here, again, that run is so precious. That run is coming at a premium. Don't send him. I don't know if he ran through the sign or what, but I mean, he's also probably Palmer's also expecting they've got to be perfect to gun me out, and they were perfect, and they, it was the risk he was willing to take, and he was just gunned out at home. But there, you can't go, you can't send him, and you would have had first and third, with one out in a tie game. You're feeling pretty good. Especially because you got Rowe up, you got a lefty who can easily hit potentially a ground ball, just try to get something in the air so Palmer can tag up and, try to take the lead. But instead, they get nothing after that, as Palmer was gunned out. And then this one drives in a run, one out, runner at second and third. Good job by the batter. Just put it to the right side, and easy run there for the Falcons to take the lead. Going to the top of the ninth, that's a huge time to take the lead because all you got to do is be perfect and get 3 outs, and you win the ball game. And now all the pressure is now on the Owls to get that one more run to tie the game. As Racine comes up. 2 outs in the ninth, flies out to center, and that's the game. Fitchburg takes the first MASCAC matchup against the Owls. Tough game for the Owls. Obviously, it's a nail biter. It was a tough one, but if you erased that first inning, the Owls would have won that game. But that wasn't the case. And instead, the Falcons came up on top. But yeah, we'll look into the box score at this game, and then we'll do the player spotlight, and then we'll wrap up this episode. We already looked at kind of their next game previews. We looked into that, especially enough for the lacrosse game, and as well as baseball and softball. But going into baseball, we'll go into this box score. Against Fitchburg. Pull this up right here. You can see, Fitchburg scored 5 in the first, and then it was a good job retaliating, scoring 4, and then they just kept going back and forth. And the Owls never had the lead in that game. That's another thing. You got to get through that first inning clean. Martin went 1 for 3 with a run scored, a walk, and also an RBI. He was left on base once. Palmer went 1 for 5 with 1 RBI, and he was left on base 3 times. Those are 3 valuable runs there, as well as Martin's run too, because he's a quick guy. He's fast. That's why he's out there in center. And then let's see. Chase Racine went 2 for 5. Could have had an RBI if Palmer scored that run. And then Scalise went 1 for 3. And then let's see, where's Nick Lenfest had a good game. He went 2 for 4, 2 hits, 1 RBI. Yeah, he's been rock solid, and he's leading the team in batting average. So, yeah, good job by him. I always look to bounce back and get a victory against Worcester on Sunday. I'll be calling that game with Dino Stellato, so stay tuned to that game. That'll be an interesting one. Again, like I said earlier, got a lot of entertaining games coming up in the next 2 days. So yeah, we'll go into our final segment here of the show, and that will be the player spotlights. And the player spotlight is where I pick a player that kind of standing out and doing the, I guess, best performance-wise, most valuable. And for me, I couldn't choose one, so I decided to choose 3. And that was Hannah Wodecki for the softball team, Izzy Conley and Christiana Roncarati for the lacrosse team. It was tough. I could have even put 4 on there. I could have put Rosie on there for lacrosse as well, because she's been firing on all cylinders. She's been scoring a handful of goals. She's been, I want to say, she scored 4 goals. She scored 4 against Plymouth and 3 against Colby. That's 7 goals in the past 3 games. And she had 1 against Hamilton as well. So that's 8 goals actually in the past 3 games. But it's hard not to put Roncarati on here when she scores 8 goals in 1 game against Plymouth State, and then 5 goals against Hamilton. And then Izzy Conley's just been phenomenal in front of net. And she's just keeping them in games, and she's had some great saves. She's got almost a 61% save percentage, and then 10 goals. She's only averaged around 10 goals per against each team. She's got 31 total saves. And then Wodecki, with just her batting average being at 500, that's remarkable. That's kind of just, unseen. And then obviously, now being a program leader in RBIs at 106, it's, that's hard not to give it to her. She's, did a good job of doing that. And, those are our player spotlights. All these 3 players are just performing very well. So it's very hard to choose just one. So I just decided to choose all 3. I could have chose 4. I mean, Rosie's, again, like I said, is making a name for herself, as she always has. But, she's becoming that scorer that her team needs, and especially when it matters most. I mean, last year we saw her score the tying goal to send that semifinal game against Framingham into overtime, and just right when the team needs it, she'll score. And she's been doing very good. She's been on a hot streak lately with scoring, and so shout out to everyone there with being the player spotlights of this episode. And that'll pretty much do it for today's episode. I've been Zach Peters here for Inside the Nest. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. The next episode will be in not next week, but the week after. I am going on vacation, family vacation, so it might be in 3 weeks from now. But yeah, stay tuned. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go Owls. Don't forget to go check out all their social medias, WestfieldStateOwls.com and Westfield Owls on Instagram. So if you want to be updated every day, just check out their Instagram. But if you want a more in-depth view, obviously check out these live streams. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I've been Zach Peters, and have a good one.